Okay, let's go. Okay, so 2 parents, both with black hair, have 4 children. 3 with black hair. Yes, babes?
You said you would show us.
XY, crossy.
Did I what?
Did you press the score? I didn't press
Fungus just pressed it. Thanks. Okay, right, guys. Hey. All right. What symbols was I using? Big S, little s.
X and Y?
It was RR probably.
You said X and Y.
Wasn't me.
Okay. All right. Somebody intelligent.
It's recording. So I'm the intelligent one.
Oh, sorry. Okay. What symbols was I using?
Oh, stop. I'll tell you now.
Big B and little b.
Yes, BB.
Okay. Right, guys, that's enough? Okay. So the symbols are big B for, what was it?
Black hair.
Really?
No,
Not for
what
question
we were doing yesterday.
I'm doing
Question
this
2.
Yeah, just do
mine.
like RR, because that's easy.
Yeah.
Must be like it was S.
Guys, I have to point out the following. Curly haired and straight haired. Where are you thumb sucking the symbol R from, Joshua?
No, really green straight edge.
The one yesterday when we do the cross country, she just wants to show him his dog.
Okay. Guys, I'm going home.
It's SS.
Well, then stop it.
It's SS.
Okay. So it was
Big S.
Big S.
big S represents blah blah straight head. I'm not going to rewrite them because it's going to take till forever. And that represents curly hair, with the allele for straight hair in guinea pigs being dominant over the allele for curly hair in guinea pigs. And we got down to the F1 was heterozygous straight haired. And it said that these F1 individuals were inbred to produce an F2. So that was the F1. Okay. Then I did a Punnett Square for you yesterday. But I said to you, you can also do the crossy thing, which is not scientifically called a crossy thing. Okay, just one way of doing a genetic diagram. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that if that is your preference. And either way is acceptable. So even in the matric exam, if they give it to you in the matric exam, they will, if it's in part 1 where you're writing on the question paper, they will actually leave you a space to do the crossy. The crossy thing, but they will also next to it actually draw the Punnett Square for you if you choose to use a Punnett Square. Okay, all right, but because this is what I was taught, this is my preference. Okay, now listen carefully to me. It's first to first, second to first. No, sorry, try this one again. It's not like that. It's first to first, first to second, second to first, second to second. Okay, if this kind of gamete fuses with that kind of gamete, and you must make sure that your lines, and I'll show you what I mean now, that they end up all at the same level. Right. First to second, second to first, second to second. So it's going to be big S, because that was that one and that one. It's going to be big S, little s, because it was the first one to the second one. Second one, little s and big S, and remember scientific convention says the dominant one goes first. And the second one and the second one is little s, little s. Okay. Right, so first to first, first to second, second to first, second to second. And if you do it in the wrong order, you will go pear-shaped and you will make a mistake. Okay, and this works out obviously exactly the same. So it is phenotypically straight-haired guinea pig, straight-haired guinea pig, straight-haired guinea pig, curly-haired guinea pig. Genotypically, homozygous straight-haired, heterozygous straight-haired, heterozygous straight-haired, homozygous curly-haired. And so this one is the second ratio you have to know. And the second ratio you have to know is if two heterozygous organisms cross, their offspring will give a 3-to-1 phenotypic ratio and a 1-to-2-to-1 genotypic ratio. A 1-to-2-to-1 genotypic ratio. So here it is one homozygous smooth-haired guinea pig, straight-haired guinea pig, to two heterozygous straight-haired guinea pigs, to one homozygous curly-haired guinea pig. Okay, you happy? So learn that ratio. So remember the ratio that you did yesterday? You've got a heterozygous crossed with a homozygous recessive. It gives a 1-to-1 phenotypic and genotypic ratio. If you have the one we're doing today, two heterozygous crossed, 3-to-1 phenotypic ratio, 1-to-2-to-1 genotypic ratio. Learn it. All right, you okay?
No,
Where did you go pear-shaped?
no, no, no.
Okay, well then you need to go home and do some learning.
No, no, I do. I just don't understand it, like the ratios.
Okay, pop it. There are 4 different options here.
Yes.
One of these,
Straight-haired guinea pig.
no, homozygous straight-haired.
Oh,
2 of those,
heterozygous.
straight-haired guinea pigs. 1, homozygous,
Homozygous. Okay.
curly-haired guinea pigs.
Yes.
So the ratio is 1 homozygous straight-haired guinea pig to 2 heterozygous straight-haired guinea pig to 1 homozygous curly-haired. There's no understanding there, it's just learning.
Now, will we ever be asked to put the ratio?
You may be.
Correctly?
You may be. So they will ask you a number, they'll ask you a proportion, they'll ask you a percentage, they'll ask you, well, that's about it. Or maybe a ratio. So I think yesterday one of the things was a ratio? No, it wasn't. Okay, guys, you all okay? Okay, from now on you may only eat in my class if your mother packs me lunch as well. I can't believe that. Just when I said to Sasha that you're not coping with the fact that you can't eat in my class because you've got to wear a mask, and I said she couldn't come back until she sorted that out. Okay, right, so 2 parents, both with black hair, have 4 children, 3 with black hair and 1 with red hair. Show by means of a simple diagram how this is possible and state which hair color is dominant. Okay, right, so we're starting with Tubbsy. Go. Dominant hair color in this problem.
No, 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds, no. 2 seconds. Black.
Black hair. Okay, right, and then obviously red hair is recessive. And so obviously the symbols that you're going to use are capital B represents the allele for black hair in humans, and little b represents the allele for red hair in humans. Okay, and it tells you that you've got 2 parents, they've both got black hair. So you know that they must at least be like that. And this is one of the things where they're telling you what the children are, and they're asking you what the parents are. Now you've got to work backwards. Okay. What you do know is that one of the children is like that. Therefore, that child must have got small b from that parent and small b from that parent. Therefore, those two parents must have been heterozygous. Okay. But you know that they've got the gene for black hair as well. And so that must be what they were. And so the F1, if you do crossy, first to first, big B, big B, big B, little b, big B, little b, little b, little b. That's not to say that of the 4 children, 1 is definitely like this, 2 are definitely like that. The only one you know for definite is that one. That's the only one you know for definite. You don't know. It could be 3, all 3 of the black-haired children might be big B, big B. All 3 of them might be big B, little b. You don't know. Because it's just a statistical probability. That's the only one you do know because that one has red hair. Jules?
Ma'am, if we did it in little Punnett Square,
Yes.
it's still fine, right?
Did I not stand here like a nana 2 minutes ago going,
Sorry.
okay. So a Punnett Square would have been like this. Okay, so it's big B, big B, big B, little b, big B, little b, little b, little b. Okay. You okay with that? And then if they'd asked you genotypic and phenotypic ratios, Carmen, go.
No, I'm still trying to get something like that.
Okay. Right, so if they'd asked you phenotypic ratios, then it would be 3 black-haired children to 1 red-haired child. It's because you're writing! Yo! Here! 1 homozygous black-haired guinea pig, human, black-haired human. 2 heterozygous black-haired humans to 1 homozygous red-haired human. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You've just had break, Matthew Fuller.
I have a lot of food.
And if you don't eat it today, is your mom not give you food tomorrow?
Oh no, then I will eat that food tomorrow.
Okay.
But that doesn't happen.
All right, let's go. Okay. A plant with red flowers, a pea plant with red flowers is crossed with a pea plant with white flowers. In the F1 generation, all of the plants had red flowers. What conclusion can be drawn from this with regards to the parents? Okay, so first of all, you establish that the allele for red flowers or red flowering pea plants is dominant over the allele for white flowering pea plants. Okay, you happy with that? Can you see why you can conclude that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Tells you that the first plant has got red flowers and the second plant has white flowers. And it tells you that the F1 is all red flowering. In fact, what you don't know is this one.
We do.
No.
No, you don't know that one because it could be
Big
big
R.
R.
It could be big R, or it could be big R, little r. But because all of these are red flowering, statistically, this parent must be big R, big R. Because if it was big R, little r, Jade, what would the phenotypic ratio of the F1 be?
If it was big or small r.
Mm.
Red,
red.
What have I just asked you?
What are the phenotype?
Yeah, so then you don't say heterozygous.
Oh, sorry.
Then it's just the physical
Oh.
outcome. Okay?
Red, still red flowered pea plants. Red petaled pea plants.
All of them.
The ratio.
The ratio?
Yeah.
What if I just asked you if this was heterozygous?
Yes.
No.
But the first-
No, it was for the ratio.
If that was
No, I said if this was heterozygous, what would the F1 phenotypic ratio be?
Yeah.
Remember, that's the thing I told you yesterday. I said the one ratio you do need to know, if you have a heterozygous organism crossed with a homozygous recessive, it always gives you a 1-to-1 phenotypic and genotypic ratio. Because look, it's going to be big R, little r, little r, little r. Do you understand why it's like that, Jadla? Do I need to do it bigger for you?
No, I understand.
You sure? Who doesn't understand? Matt.
You should explain it again.
Okay. So remember I told you yesterday to learn it.
No, I'm sorry. I understand, but I didn't learn.
No, oh, you must learn it, my angel. Because when I say learn something, what I really mean is learn it. Because there's a good reason why I'm telling you to learn it. Because you're going to need it very soon. Okay, so if a heterozygous organism is crossed with a homozygous recessive, then, so that would be the parental generation, the gametes would be half big R, half little r, and all little r. So the F1 would be big R, little r, little r, little r. So the phenotypic ratio is 1 red flowering to 1 white flowering, and the genotypic ratio is 1 heterozygous red flowering to 1 homozygous white flowering. Learn it. What I really mean at that point is, Kerry, learn it. Not just Kerry, everybody learn it.
Ma'am, in the statement it says that in the F1 generation, all the plants
Yes.
had red flowers, but
Yes.
then
Okay, so what I said to you now, when we got sidetracked on the fact that Kerry hadn't done any learning, is I said to you, we know this. Therefore, we know this. Because there must be a little r from that parent.
Okay.
And you are told that they're red flowering. So you know that this one must be capital R. Because they tell you they're red flowering.
yes, but then there would be two recessive genes forming together if it's big R, little r, and then little r.
If
little
it
r.
was. So that is the evidence which tells you it's big R, big R. And then I got sidetracked explaining to say to you, remember yesterday?
Oh,
Okay.
I see, yeah.
So that was just going back to what I said to you yesterday. You know that you would get a 1-to-1 phenotypic and genotypic if this one was heterozygous. And so that's your proof for the fact that it's homozygous dominant. Okay. Do you guys need me to do this problem?
No.
Okay. So gametes would be all big R, and gametes on this side would be all little r. And so the F1 is all big R, little r. Okay. You're all okay? All right, so what conclusion can be drawn from that with regard to the parents? With regard to the parents, that the one must be homozygous, red flowering, and the other one must be homozygous, white flowering.
No.
If it just said to you what conclusion, sorry, not saying with regard to the parents, then your conclusion would have been that the allele for red flowers is dominant to the allele for white flowers. Thanks, Josh.
Ma'am, so for that question, I said that both pea plants are homozygous. Would I have to go into the specifics that they're
Yes.
homozygous?
Because they could both be homozygous little r, or they could both be homozygous big R, big R, big R. Okay, you happy, William?
Am I allowed to say the red flower has big R alleles, and the white flower has small r
Okay.
alleles?
Show me with your hand what a flower is.
You tell him.
But it's a plant. It's a red flowering plant. It's not a red flower.
Okay.
It's a red flowering
What
plant.
What I meant was, am I allowed to say big R and little r?
No, you need to say homozygous.
Okay. Because it just didn't fit, so I said not there.
Hey, don't look at me. I didn't do the lines. What would the result be if two of these two of these plants were self-pollinated? And they're asking you about the F1 plants. They're saying if two of these ones were self-pollinated, and what are you going to get if you do that?
Either white or either red.
Guys?
Yeah.
A 3-to-1 phenotypic ratio and a 1-to-2-to-1 genotypic. So it's going to be exactly the same as this. See it? It's going to be exactly the same as that one. Okay, or exactly the same as this one. Joshua, what's the symbol?
R or S, I don't know. But, ma'am, sorry, I lost track because I'm trying to think of something at the same time and I've got multitask.
Okay, go. I don't know how you suddenly turned it into an S, but anyway, I'm fine.
So, ma'am,
I am listening,
you said,
Joshua.
oh, okay.
Just
You
trying
said-
to see if
If you say,
financially I can retire.
oh,
No.
okay.
Right now.
Ma'am, when the question mentions conclusion, what must you say as an answer?
For A.
Yeah, but you said if it leaves out the with regards to the parents.
Okay. So what conclusion can be drawn from this with regard to the parents? Then it would be the whole this is this and that is that. But if they just said what conclusion can be drawn from this, I think I would give at that point that the allele for red flowers is dominant over the allele for white flowers.
Okay. And then when it says results, what do you answer then? Because it's not asking directly what is the genotypic or phenotypic ratio. So if they say what are the results, like I said, both red and yellow flowers. Technically that is the result, but I don't know.
How did you get a yellow flower?
Yellow? Okay, let's not get caught up on the The point is, what you say.
Another flower getting involved.
No, for 2 marks there you need to give a ratio. Look, don't blame me about these stupid little lines.
Okay. Which ratio? Genotypic or genotypic? Oh. Yeah.
Both.
Both.
But then now we have to write, like, we can't just say 3-to-1 phenotypic and 1-to-2-to-1 genotypic. We actually have to write out what the ratio is.
I think I would. I would cover my bum.
I can't do that on
Okay.
this line.
So what's the answer?
Yeah, what is the answer actually?
It would be, and look, it's exactly the same as this one, but the symbols are different. So it would be a phenotypically 3 red flowering pea plants to 1 white flowering pea plant. I didn't find any yellow ones there.
Wait, but that's why yellow's wrong.
No point in being sarky at you if you miss it for the first 10 minutes of me being sarky. Okay, Papa, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
And 1 homozygous red flowering pea plant to 2 heterozygous red flowering pea plants to 1 homozygous white flowering pea plant. And then you'd be the kind of kid we'd hate at the matric exam. Because he's written this much. We only wanted that. But it's not clear. for a line like that in 2 marks, what they're asking you. Yep, babe?
For number B, where the ratio was 3 to 1,
Mm-hmm.
I said 75% red flowering pea plants to 25% white flowering pea plants. Would that be okay?
I'm fine with that. Except, sweetie, listen to me. If they say to you, what is the ratio? Okay, and it doesn't. It doesn't, so you're not wrong.
Okay.
If they had asked what is the ratio, you always reduce it down to the lowest you can get it. So then it would be a 3 red flowering to 1 white flowering pea plant. Okay. What is the genetic composition of the F2? And that's what we've just done. Okay. All right, we're happy. Let's go. Okay. In Drosophila. Now, do you guys all know what Drosophila is?
No.
Okay. It's a fruit fly.
Did you do
So-
C?
Why is
Yes.
that word written with a capital letter and in italics? It's a genus name. It's a genus name. Okay, so you all know a fruit fly is one of those tiny flies that when the peaches get overripe in the fruit bowl, those flies. Not quite the same thing as a, it depends, Michi's a general word, hey? Okay. The gene for normal wings is dominant to the allele for vestigial wings, which are tiny little crumpled wings. In a cross between 2 flies, the F1 generation showed a 1-to-1 phenotypic ratio. Jade!
Yes, oh, no. Okay, wait. F1 generation showed a 1-to-1 phenotypic ratio. So 1 normal winged Drosophila to 1 crumpled winged Drosophila.
Is this the F1 or the parents?
She's on to number 8 now.
Okay,
Wait,
butt out.
you didn't you say the what is the phenotypic?
No, I think I said what's a genotype?
Oh, sorry, okay. Of the F1 of the parents. Then it would be a I would say 1 homozygous normal winged Drosophila to 1 homozygous crumpled winged Drosophila.
And you would be?
Wrong?
Good, wrong.
That's so mean. That's so
Jadela? Jade, my little pookie pookie poo. Did we not spend 20 minutes on the fact that you didn't learn anything yesterday?
No, I wasn't in class yesterday.
Well, don't blame me.
No, I get that.
Don't.
I'm just.
No, but love, I've gone through it for you.
Yes, no, I see that.
And no, look at me. As soon as you get a 1-to-1, you know that that's the parents.
All the time. Like, no exception. What's this genotype?
Yeah.
It's always 1-to-1, okay. See, I
The
didn't know that.
only Jade, I spent 20 minutes going through this with you now, this morning. So if there is a 1-to-1 phenotypic and genotypic ratio in this generation, then in the previous generation it must be 1 heterozygous crossed with a homozygous recessive. It's the only way you can get it.
Okay. Thank you, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, I feel bad though.
Well, don't. Trust me, I would shout at you effectively if I was cross with you.
Okay, thanks. You're such a bad friend. I didn't even know what you said.
Okay. What are the genotypes, Jadla, of the F1 generation?
So the genotype is 1 heterozygous normal. Is it normal winged Drosophila to 1 homozygous crumpled winged Drosophila?
Excellent. What are the phenotypes of the F1 generation, Taylor?
Oh, sorry.
She's answering a question that isn't about sex. Let's go, Kerry.